Okay, so in this quick tutorial, I'm just going to be showing you how you can draw hair, dark hair, and some of the tips and tricks you can use to get the hair to look a little bit more realistic. This is a quick tutorial, so this isn't a photorealistic photo of a hair, it's just a good example where I can show you some of the tricks and some of the techniques that I use. So in the end of this video, I'll also show you a little bit more in detail of how you can draw the detailed parts of the hair. So keep watching towards the end and you'll be able to see that. So for this you just need a few different tools. I'm mainly going to be using a mechanical pencil, 2B pencil. I'm just going to draw the outline of the hair. So this is a hair in a bun. Okay, so I also have a Patreon channel, and if you do sign up to my Patreon, I have tutorials that are in real time so you can draw along with me. I do have tutorials with graphite pencil, pastel pencils and coloured pencils. I add new full in-depth tutorials and many other tips, tricks and ideas and behind the scenes stuff I add daily. So once I've drawn the outline of this bun, I'm just going to come in now with a 6B pencil and just block in the darker areas. I'm always going to go in the direction of the hair. I'm also going to slightly leave some of the highlighted areas with less graphite on it, if you can see there around the bun, and in the middle here of the hair. That will bring a more depth to the picture and a shape to the head. So at the moment I'm just blocking this in, and then I'm going to smooth it all and blend it all together with a blending stump. And as you can see already, by leaving those highlighted areas, you've brought some shape to the hair. Just going to add some of the back skin there. So then I'm going to use a Mono Zero mechanical eraser, and I'm going to start bringing in the highlighted areas to actually draw some of these hairs in. At this stage, this is just one of the first layers, so you don't have to worry too much. At this stage, you're building up hair in layers, and like I've always said, with graphite or charcoal drawing, most of the time you're building up layers, you're adding and moving around the graphite or the charcoal and erasing it, so you're using an eraser to lift areas. So now I'm coming in with a 6B graphite pencil, which is a bit darker and a bit softer, just to add slightly darker layers. I'm always trying to go in the direction of the hair, and it's always best to try and do the hair in slightly different directions, so as you will see, that gives you a more realistic look. Trying to allow for the darker areas where there would be more shadow. Now, I always try and do the odd stray hair which will go across in a different direction. I feel this brings a little bit more realism to any picture. And by doing it in layers, as I've always said before, it's much easier to correct mistakes. But with hair, especially dark hair, you're normally just building it up in layers, going darker and darker, but keeping those highlighted areas alive by going over them with an eraser. You can see a little bit more detail here, and just keeping the darker areas dark. The hair is never completely smooth, so you're going to have highlights, and it's the highlights that make the hair. Just going to add in these swirls here. I go into greater depth over on my Patreon channel into drawing hair and many other subjects, using all different types of mediums, from coloured pencils, pastel pencils, drawing animals, fruit and people, eyes, hands, and those are in real time, so you can draw along with me, and I answer any questions. If you do have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and I will have a list of the materials I use to do this drawing of this tutorial. So I'm using a mechanical pencil as well. That's my 2B mechanical pencil. It's a really versatile tool. I'm just going to tidy up the edge there just to keep things tidy. And this is where I'm now using a thin mechanical pencil just to feather into the head. So I'm just going to smooth that over to add some skin texture, and then feather the hair into the head by using thin strokes, light strokes with a thin pencil, just to add those thin bits of hair. And I'll build up the layers of darkness by pressing harder and lighter, lighter and harder with this pencil. And as you can see, you're starting to see some shape developing to this hair, this hairstyle. Don't be afraid of using dark. Later on, towards the end of this video, towards the middle to the end of this video, I'll show you the difference when you can use a Mars Lumograph pencil. That's like a charcoal mixed with a graphite pencil, and how much darker that is to a normal, say, 6B pencil. I'll use a 6B Mars Lumograph pencil. There are other makes out there, but any dark black pencil that is a mixture of charcoal and graphite just gives you that darker look. Don't be afraid to go dark. Darkness and blacks do bring the picture to life. They give you much more depth to any picture. So as I'm going here, I'm highlighting the area and I'm re-smoothing it in. I'm not blending in the whole area as I go bigger, because I don't want to get rid of all of those highlights. So as I've blended it in, I'll go over it again, bringing back those dark areas, and I'll go over it again with the erasers to bring back the light areas. So here I'm using a 6B pencil, so this is sort of one of the darkest pencils you can go. I mean, you can go up to a 6, a 7, 8B, but this is a graphite pencil, so this brings it quite dark, and I'll smooth all of that in. So blend it all in, re-highlight the areas you want to highlight. But if you notice here now, I'm going to start to use my Mars Lumograph pencil. My pencil's got a mixture of graphite and charcoal, and it's a much blacker pencil, and straight away when I use it you will see the difference in the picture and how it lifts the picture. So this is the pencil, and straight away now I can go into all the darker areas, and as you can see how much darker a 6B graphite and charcoal pencil is compared to a normal graphite pencil, and that really lifts that bun off the head. It really darkens the area and gives a greater depth to this picture. So you can go over just darkening the areas you want to darken, and then re-highlight the areas, have a few stray hairs which helps. Add a few stray hairs here and there, and that is the basic principles that I use. Obviously if I'm doing a photorealistic drawing I will spend much more time, but this gives you a good idea of how to get that. Now what I'll do next at the end of this video is I'm just going to show you a little bit more in depth here. So I'm just going to block in an area and start to highlight this hair. So this is where the hair overlaps, and this is where it really shows more detail and how you can get something to look realistic by overlapping the hairs and making sure that any hair that overlaps has the darker shadow underneath it. So just bringing in that, using that dark black pencil, blending it in, using the highlights, going over it and over it, keeping your mono zero eraser sharp towards the end gives you that ability to get the finer lines, and then you get something that looks quite realistic. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learnt something. I have more in-depth videos over on my Patreon, so pop over, take a look. So thanks for getting to the end of this video. I really hope you took something from it. So please don't forget to like and subscribe.